hello there, and welcome back. Man, it's been a while since I last made a video. Alright, I'm gonna catch up to what's going on recently. You know that top 10 most interesting planes in flying games video that I talked about? Well, I've cancelled it in favor for another video that I'm going to be doing today. However, the chronologically confused about Ace Combat video is still being considered, but it's going to be put on the back burner in favor for this video. Alright, so Twisted Metal has a lot of great characters. Yeah, a lot of memorable characters like Sweet Tooth, Mr. Grimm, and my personal favorite, Minion. But somehow, every game has to have a slew of bad characters, or some bad characters. And of course, Twisted Metal is no stranger to bad characters. Alright, so this list is going to be dedicated to the worst of the worst in the Twisted Metal series, and since I'm going through a Twisted Metal phase currently, I'm going to be doing a series of Twisted Metal related videos. So yeah, expect me to do a review of the Twisted Metal game if I ever get one. Alright, so we're gonna count them down. The top 10 worst characters in the Twisted Metal series. Alright, here's something to consider before I start this video. 1. These are all characters from different games. Whether if it's like Twisted Metal, the original, or the worst game in the series, Twisted Metal 3, or whatever game that they appear in, they're all from different games. 2. Well, this is just my opinion, so it is okay if you disagree with me. Yeah, those are 2 things to consider. Alright, let's get started. Number 10! Alright, starting off the list is Granny Dread. Yep, a grandma driving a monster truck. Yeah, someone at 989 Studios thought that it would be funny to have a grandma driving a monster truck, or a grandmother driving a monster truck. Yeah, well, it is actually pretty funny, but here's the problem though. Granny Dread does not mesh with Hammerhead. Yeah, the character doesn't mesh with Hammerhead. That's the only problem I have with it. If it was a nun driving a monster truck, it would make more sense, because, well, that was a thing on Top Gear. Yeah, there's not much to say, but grandmas and monster trucks, unless if it's a nun, just don't mesh. Alright, next one, please. Number 9! Yeah. Number 9 goes to another 989 Studios character. Alright, number 9 goes to Drag Queen. Yeah, Drag Queen is pretty silly looking. He's basically a fat guy. And no, I'm not trying to offend any fat guys. In fact, I'm probably fat myself that dresses up like a lady. Yeah, let that sink in for a minute. Now, to be fair, I'm not trying to offend any drag queens out there. Drag queens are an actual job, and there are some men that dress up as women. I mean, look at Francis from A Bug's Life. But drag queen, like the whole idea and the appearance of the character itself is just flat out silly. Yeah, very, very silly. But hey, at least he has a cool car to make up for it, am I right? A Chevrolet Camaro funny car. Although I am more of a Mustang guy myself. Alright. The next list, of course, is going... The next character on the list is going to surprise you. Alright, let's move. Number 8. Surprised? Well, you should be. Because number 8 is going to be, well, a character, a choice that you might disagree with. Alright. You know Mona, right? You know, she's a character that has appeared in WarioWare. Anyone who's played the WarioWare games knows who Mona is. Yeah, she's cute, cool, and sexy. That's all you need to know. And she also has a good personality to go with her. In fact, a great personality to go with her. Alright. Let's make a character similar to her, except take away everything that has made Mona great and just make her into a generic redhead with a coat that wants a car to be bigger, louder, and bouncier. Yep, that's right. The number 8 spot goes to Angel from Twisted Metal Head-On. Yeah, I'm not very fond of Twisted Metal Head-On's driver of Thumper. Yeah. She's not nearly as cool to me as Bruce, who's has a lot more personality to him, and he's definitely more gangsta. And it makes more sense as a lowrider driver. Yeah, because it's all gangsta.
Der echte Gangster! Ja!
Whereas Angel is a redhead, a generic redhead. That's a second-rate clone of a, second-rate copy of a character that's already great, except without all the stuff that made her so great. So, Angel is basically like a Diet Mona. Or a fat-free Mona. Yeah. Meaning that she's a character that, well, is somewhat similar to Mona, except, well, without all the personality and anything that made her great in the first place, and a generic redhead. That's all I gotta say about her. Even Pizza Boy had more personality to him than Angel did. And he's just a pizza delivery guy driving around in a Honda Civic. Yeah, if some dude driving around in a Civic has more personality to him than a generic redhead that tries so hard to be cool, then, well, you're in trouble. Alright, let's move on. Number 7. Alright, number 7 goes to yet another character in Twisted Metal Head-On. Gene Ruddish. Or, Genie Ruddish. The driver of ATV. Yeah, ATV. That has to be the most uncreative name for a vehicle in Twisted Metal yet. I mean, come on. You could have called it something like Mad Mink or Evil Weasel or fearsome ferret. Anything but ATV would have been cool. Not to mention, the vehicle itself is weak as heck. Its armor is, like, pathetic and, well, it's just flat out useless. You'll have a hard time using this vehicle. Well, at least with Mr. Grimm, his armor was also pretty, poor, but he had, like, amazing speed and acceleration to make up for it, and a great special weapon to make up for it as well. Not to mention, Mr. Grimm is also pretty cool. He's one of my favorite characters in Twisted Metal. Yeah. And, of course, his backstory doesn't help either. Gene Ruddish wants to be a ladies' man, and, well, that's his wish. Yeah. Most exciting character in Twisted Metal yet. Notice how I'm saying it with sarcasm. Yeah. Gene Ruddish, of course, well, anybody could agree that he's pretty lame. Alright, next spot, please. Number 6. Alright, the next spot goes to Club Kid from Twisted Metal 3. The worst game in the series. Well, probably the worst game in the series. I haven't tried it, so I might want to see if it's truly bad or not. Well, I don't have a problem with Club Kid's vehicle. It's a Mini Cooper. I like the Mini Cooper, and thanks to Mr. Bean, I have an obsession with this car. But Club Kid, of course, has problems of his own. Like, for instance, he's supposed to be like a kid that goes into into nightclubs, dancing around. He's supposed to be like a rave. Well, most raves I've seen that usually carry around glow sticks. Just saying. And he doesn't even have any glow sticks. Yeah. And of course, he also has, like, smiley faces everywhere. I mean, smiley faces on his jacket, smiley faces on the roof of his car, smiley faces on the hubcaps, smiley faces on the hood, smiley faces everywhere. Smiley faces everywhere. Yeah. He has smiley faces everywhere. Get what I'm saying? Yeah. That's all I can say about Club Kid. Let's move on to the next character on the list. Number 5. Alright, the next character on the list is the final character on this list that makes an appearance in Twisted Metal head-on. Conan Eddie. Instead of someone awesome like Minion who drives around in a big bad tank with lots of beef and wants revenge on Calypso for stealing his powers, we get this loser who's ugly, smelly, and drives a rust bucket. Yeah, Conan Eddie is not only a bad character, but his vehicle is slow and doesn't even handle that well. So his vehicle is practically useless. Usually the slower vehicles have something good to make up for it. Like heavy armor, or maybe even a powerful special weapon, but Conan Eddie's RV has none of those things. Trust me, he's that bad. And of course, his wish in Twisted Metal Head-On is to basically have a better RV, which he should have had a better RV in the first place than his pile of junk that he has to drive-in. Ugh. Conan Eddie is not a likable character. And he makes the Joneses from Twisted Metal 4 look threatening by comparison. Yeah. It's not a good thing when a family of 4, or is it a family of 3? I can't exactly remember, who drives around in a Ford Country Squire station wagon is a much more threatening driver than a loser, than a smelly loser who drives around in a pile of junk. Yeah. Needless to say, they should have deleted Conan Eddie during development and replaced him with the much more awesome Minion. Oh, and by the way, Minion is also my favorite character in Twisted Metal. Yeah, he's my favorite character in the whole Twisted Metal series. You just can't help but love him. How could you not love him? He's cool. The same can't be said for Conan Eddie, however. Alright, next spot, please. Number 4! Well, number 4, of course, goes to yet another character in Twisted Metal 3. Firestarter. Yeah, I like his car, but I have other problems with the character itself. Like, for instance, he took away Thumper's special weapon, the flamethrower. I guess 989 Studios thought a lowrider with a flamethrower was just too silly for them. Yeah, not to mention he's an insane pyromaniac that wants to, that's obsessed with burning things. Yeah, and of course, just take a look at the profile picture in the game. It makes him look that more retarded. So yeah, Firestarter is retarded. Very retarded. Yeah. And even his bio, of course, makes him that much more ridiculous. Yeah, seriously. There's nothing salvageable about, like, Firestarter aside from the vehicle itself, which I think the vehicle is pretty cool. Should have been driven by someone spooky and have like a skulls on it. Yeah. Alright, let's move on to the next spot on the list. Number 3! 3 is going to surprise you. Not because it's on the list, but because of where it is on the list. Yeah, I just realized I made a Plastic Act reference. Alright, number 3 goes to the infamous Flower Power. Now, Flower Power is probably one of the most hated characters in the Twisted Metal community, and for good reason. According to Twisted Metal 3, Flower Power is supposed to be a hippie. Well, just look at her profile picture. Look at what she's wearing. Like, look at the profile picture in the game itself. She's wearing a dress. She looks more like a prostitute than a hippie. Now, to be fair, you can, like, enter a code where she wears something more revealing. In fact, I've read about this code somewhere, but she still doesn't look like a hippie. Most hippies usually wear old, worn-out clothing, or used clothing. And sometimes it will be tie-dye. Heck, even Steve Jobs looks more like a hippie than than she does. And yes, Steve Jobs is actually a hippie, and of course, he also did some drugs. Most hippies usually do drugs. And yes, I have read the book before, and it does mention a part where Steve Jobs smoked marijuana while he was driving his Fiat. Well, a car that he owned. Yeah, I've read the book. And even in the ending itself, Flower Power doesn't even look. She still doesn't look like a hippie. She looks more like a friggin' secretary than a hippie. Oh, and let's talk about her vehicle while we're at it. Her vehicle is a Volvo Amazon. Yeah. Well, it is a great classic car, and I do like it. It's not what hippies drive. Hippies are supposed to drive a friggin' Volkswagen. Volkswagen. Even Steve Jobs drove a Volkswagen. How do you screw that up?
What a shame. We couldn't get the basics right.
Most hippies usually drive a Volkswagen Beetle, a Volkswagen bus, and occasionally a Volkswagen Thing, or maybe in the Volkswagen Notchback, or probably a Volkswagen Carmen Ghia, but not a Volvo. Yeah, it would have made more sense if Flower Power drove around in a Volkswagen Notchback or Carmen Ghia, or since it's 1998, let's have her drive in a Volkswagen Golf Mark IV. Yeah. It makes me wonder if Flower Power, the driver of Flower Power, wasn't actually considered to be a hippie originally. She was actually considered to be like a different character. And of course, someone at 99 Studios in the last minute thought, hey, let's make her into a hippie and let's give her a half-baked backstory, and let's paint her car up in flowers. Yeah. Can't believe they screwed this up. And do you want to know what the worst part is? There's still 2 characters that are left on this list. Oh, man. Might as well prepare for pain, because that's what we'll be doing in this list. Alright. Bring on the next one. Number 2. The number 2 spot is not actually a character of any sorts, but a vehicle. Yeah, a vehicle from Twisted Metal Small Brawl named Piecemeal. Piecemeal is probably the most uninspiring and uncreative vehicle from Twisted Metal yet. Yeah, it's basically just cobbled together from pieces of other vehicles from other drivers in the game, and uses the special weapons of all the other drivers. It's like if they had an idea for an awesome boss, like an RC version of Minion, but then they had to cut corners and create this abomination of a vehicle instead. Now, the driver of Piecemeal is not actually seen or known, but all it says is that he is a collector. And you might say, well, he has special weapons from all the vehicles, so that's cool, right? Well, guess what? Mime can do the same thing. Except that Mime doesn't look like a cobbled up mess of a vehicle. Yeah. All I gotta say about Piecemeal is that creativity was just not on their agenda. Alright, so we're gonna take a look at 3, and I counted 3 honorable mentions. Characters that are bad, but didn't make it on the list. Alright, let's take a look at them all. Honorable mention number 1. Honorable mention number 1 goes to, Auger. Now, Auger, of course, well, I actually, don't like him, but I don't hate him either. It's just that, well, his character is inconsistent. Like, in the bio, it talks about him wanting revenge on the competitors that destroyed his buildings and his construction vehicles, sort of like a crane modified for car combat. Yeah, it's a pretty good backstory. But then you get to the ending, and guess what his wish is? His wish is to come in contact with his inner child. What? Alright, I'm just gonna play that clip.
I can't believe just how inconsistent you are!
Yeah, Gordon Ramsay just says it all. Yeah, the reason why he didn't make it on this list is because, well, I don't like Auger, but I don't hate him either. I'm sort of neutral to him, like it's the same case with Husu Hao. Yeah, I don't like him, but I don't hate him either. Alright, let's go on to the next honorable mention. Honorable mention number 2. The next honorable mention goes to the exterminator guy from Twisted Metal 4. I can't remember what his name is. I'll put it in the video itself. Yeah. Well, he's actually pretty silly. I mean, come on, it's an exterminator driving around in the van in a car combat competition. I'm gonna let you take a minute for that to sink in. I actually don't hate the character. Like with Auger, I don't hate this character, but I don't like him either. He's not that bad to me. I'm neutral to him as well. Alright, the next spot on this list, of course. Well, the next honorable mention on this list, and the final one, well, will actually surprise you. Honorable mention number 3. Yeah, Pizza Boy is a dude driving around in a Honda Civic, a pizza delivery guy driving around in a Honda Civic. And he's voiced by, well, the same voice actor that did the voice for Sonic the friggin' Hedgehog. Yeah. The thing is that I actually like Pizza Boy. Yeah, I like him. Well, I actually do like fictional pizza delivery people, thanks to my obsession with Mona. Because, well, pizza is life, and I love eating pizza. Yeah, his wish is to have a car that's faster, and, well, he gets the wish, but he ends up in a black hole, sadly. Yeah, the reason why Pizza Boy didn't end up on this list is because I don't think he's that bad, and I like him. Alright, we've taken a look at the 3 honorable mentions on this list. Now let's take a look at the worst character to ever appear in Twisted Metal. The number 1 worst character in Twisted Metal is Meter Maid. Yes, that's right. It's Meter Maid. Yeah, she has a lot of the bad qualities. Well, you can argue that she's beautiful. She has a lot more bad qualities than she does have good qualities. Like, for instance, her vehicle is weak. Weak as heck. And pretty friggin' pathetic. Yeah, its armor, of course, doesn't even make up for the speed of the vehicle, and the character is, well, just not that great. And of course, not to mention, she's also kind of annoying. Yeah. Meter Maid, of course, has a lot of bad things about her. The bad qualities of her far outweigh the good. And she's also pretty uncreative as well. Her name is, well, the name is Meter Maid, probably one of the most uncreative names of a vehicle or anything in Twisted Metal yet, aside from ATV. And the character is pretty bad. Yeah. She is definitely my least favorite character in Twisted Metal, so to speak. Alright, we've taken a look at the worst characters in Twisted Metal. Yeah, stay tuned for a video where I take a look at the best characters in Twisted Metal. The whole entire Twisted Metal series. See you later, alligator, or yo, see you later, dude.